What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Texture Pop Podcast. I'm professionalism at its finest. I am Earth's mightiest podcast host, Chris Acharya. And joining me is Earth's mightiest cynic, Brandon Carey.
I'm not cynical.
Bullshit, you aren't.
How am I cynical?
I've read your writing.
Which one?
All of them.
Hey, I am not cynical. I would never pass my writing as cynical.
I know. I joke.
I am an optimist, but fuck all of you.
Our good old buddy, Earth's mightiest movie guy, Garrett Glaze, should be joining us shortly. So
yes,
hopefully he'll be with us. And Earth's mightiest Dark Souls shooter guy, Sam, is going to be sitting out. He's dealing with an unfortunate ear infection, so we hope he gets well.
I just realized the irony of me being so pissy when you call me cynical. Like those people, like, stop calling me angry. I am not angry. How dare you call me angry?
You got so defensive. Oh, man.
I just realized the delicious irony of what I did.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You fell into my trap.
You activated my trap card.
Of course, we always hope Sam gets well soon. We hope your ears get better so that he can come back to bitch with us more. And listen to our bitching.
Yeah, for those who don't know, his ears exploded.
Ouch. And
he's spending the week getting them sewed back up together.
It's like that movie Scanners, where you see that guy's head just go. It's like,
yeah, except localized only to the ears.
Oh man. So getting right into it, man, some big freaking news that happened this week.
Oh yes.
And the first one we're gonna mention. So remember when we were talking about paid mods last week on Steam?
I certainly do. I assume the audience would as well if they watched last episode.
Well, if they didn't, I'm sure everybody knows how the paid mod thing went down, because despite the fact that at the time, I want to make something clear. At the time we recorded that, the paid mods thing didn't go down yet.
Yeah.
And then it was after we got it posted that...
It was before we got it posted that happened.
Well, yeah, my bad. Before we were able to get the episode posted, fucking Steam just straight up pulled paid mods from Steam.
Yeah.
And Gabe
Which,
Newell,
honestly, I did not expect that.
Nope.
I'm glad they did it. I'm really happy they did it, but I did not expect that.
It was amazing how quick that happened. Like, they realized, like, you know what? This isn't working now.
A little over 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Somewhere in that time frame.
I want to say, like, the paid mods things happened, like, that was up probably at least a couple of days.
It was literally overnight. Like, one day, I see a little notification that says, oh, yeah, paid mods in Skyrim, and I go, what?
Yeah.
Next day, I see a little thing on my notice that goes, paid mods no longer in Skyrim, and then I go, what?
Yeah. And the thing about it, I know Gabe Newell, he kind of gave his 2 cents, rightfully so, because I know I was wondering what he had thought about it, and he did a whole Ask Me Anything about it. But yeah, it was, like, again, I don't think anybody here saw this coming, and I don't mean to speak for Sam and Garrett, but yeah, they acted really fucking quick on this. Because it was evident that while they tried it, I give Valve credit for wanting to do something to see that people who make this content could get rewarded in some way.
I agree.
But this wasn't it.
I also agree.
And I know you and Sam, when you guys were talking last week of, like, what could they have done to foresee this? Like, there was nothing they could have done. And ultimately, I think the answer was just shut it down.
Well, I mean, if they they obviously were going to see a backlash coming, but if you just analyze what was going on at a cursory level, like I said, within 24 hours, we all saw the problem with Steam paid mods. And most of that was something that you could have already figured out without having ever implemented the paid mod system, at least the way they did it. So I'm honestly still unsure exactly how that got public. Like that seems one of those ideas that people go, "Oh yeah, paid mods," and then someone's like, "Yeah, cool, but there are too many problems with this, so we have to shut you down."
Yeah, and I know Seamus Young, we weren't the only guys that got caught with our pants down when it came to making something and then posting it up, which I think was a testament
Yeah,
of how quick Steam was acting on this. But Seamus Young, he did a very good article on the Escapist.
and I'll link that in the show notes.
Yeah, talking about why charging for Skyrim mods was not a good idea. I mean, yeah, and the more I think about it, the more I think Sam was right about just put a donate button.
Yeah,
I think that really, and granted, yeah, that doesn't guarantee that the people who made it get something, but when it comes to the modding community, it's like they do it because they want to. And while Valve had good intentions of wanting to see content and mod creators get reimbursed for this, as history shows us, even the best intentions can have the worst outcomes.
as they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yes. Yep. I was trying to think of what that quote was during the week, and yeah.
And Jim Sterling's made a video on paid Steam mods already, so I don't want to ape him too much, but he did make a really interesting point, whereas it's really easy to consider gamers entitled for going, oh, I don't want to pay for mods. When you think about it, the free mod structure has been in place for years. To expect everyone to change their opinion on that overnight is stupid. It is stupid.
And again, it goes back to the problem of for every one good modder, mod creator, whatever, what have you, for every one good person that does this, there were 100 of other assholes that were trying to exploit it.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, give me $10 for golden potato. Like,
And like this schema kind of works well for things like TF2 and Dota because they were built from the ground up with the expectation that people were going to pay for mods. At least their free to play stuff was. But Skyrim already had this community that it had built up, and it wasn't a fit. It wasn't going to work. It was the wrong choice.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was not aware of initially, and something I had learned after reading Seamus Young's article, was he mentions how the profit was split between Steam, Bethesda, and the user themselves and the creator themselves. The creator of those mods only got 25% of whatever the cost was.
And then Valve took a 30% cut.
And that's not even the most offensive part.
And the other 45% went to Bethesda. That means Bethesda got almost half the proceeds from the mod.
That to me, I thought was really gross. Like, I give it up to Steam because it's like, yeah, we're hosting it on your service, so I can understand if they want to cut. But Bethesda, it's like...
They are technically legally entitled to that, but morally, I would say no way.
Yeah, I think it's morally gross. It's like, I'm sure Bethesda still gives support to Skyrim, with the DLC and stuff that they made, and I understand their argument of, yeah, this is a thing you made and people are just kind of making stuff based on what you did. However, I don't think that entitles you to also their work,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
and then Jim Sterling brought a point up where you could have a developer who makes a really shit system. Like, for example, Skyrim UI was designed for a controller and not for a keyboard and mouse, so it basically required the use of Sky UI if you wanted to play it on the PC. So that means that whenever someone bought Sky UI, Bethesda was taking half paycheck of it for a fix that they should have already had out that should not have been a mod in the first place. That should have been an official update.
I don't think I can repeat it. I don't think I can say anything else that hasn't already been said about this, except I think it was the right call to ultimately pull this, and really, I mean,
it's just a sign of the decline that Valve has been already going through steadily over the years.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably say that maybe they had some greedy idea that they could make some money off all the mods that people make.
I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they meant the best the best for this service.
Yeah.
I just think that they really fucked it up.
They
It's
had
easier.
good.
It is better to blame it on incompetence over malice whenever possible.
Absolutely. I think it was just there were a good number of honest mistakes, and it was not going to work the way they intended. It was not meant to be. They made the right call pulling it, and obviously, if if you are somebody that believes that modders need to get paid, then donate to them. Put up or shut up.
And I do appreciate that someone is thinking about rewarding these people who do a lot of work for essentially nothing, or considering they're probably spending a lot of time, negative
Yeah.
monetary value to them.
Yeah. So I think, hopefully while the dust is settling, it's obviously made some kind of an impact that it's going to be remembered as this gross thing. But good on him for canning this.
The other story of the week, dear God, the other story of the week.
Oh, holy shit.
I'm just going to sum it up in 5 words. What the fuck happened, Konami?
Some individuals might tell you Konami was just being Konami. And to be quite honest, I don't feel any pity about Konami.
Me neither.
Although, what I do feel bad about was that we had this potential for this glorious thing, but the potential was the only thing we got to see. That was it.
You have Del Toro, Kojima, and Silent Hills together, and somehow things still manage to get fucked up.
And, of course, the idea of an actor that everybody, Norman Reedus, a guy who is very, very well known, given his fame from The Walking Dead, it seemed like a perfect fit. According to, some various news sources, I think this started when Del Toro was at a film festival and he mentioned how Silent Hills was no longer happening. And it broke his greasy heart.
Yeah, direct quote.
And then Norman Reedus, the actor who was going to be the main protagonist of this game, had kind of come out and said that it was no longer happening either. And then eventually, I think Kojima had spoke up, and Konami later, PT got pulled from PSN. And while this isn't Silent Hill specifically, the Konami delisted themselves from the New York Stock Exchange.
Voluntarily, not by force.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And that was one of those things where I think people had asked them about it, and Konami was like, well, that's just money we don't need to spend. Like, that was how they looked at it. Like, being listed on the New York Stock Exchange was just costing them money that they did not need to be blowing. Whereas, from an investor standpoint, it looks worrisome. And joining us, we've got Earth's mightiest movie guy, Garrett Glaze.
Hello.
You're about to call him Brandon, weren't you?
You know what? Sadly, I was, but it's okay.
You're usually offended by that.
I care about you both. So Garrett, you're just in time, especially because we were talking about the shitstorm that was Silent Hills getting canceled and what's going on with Konami.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, because we had already mentioned how, what Del Toro had said, what Kojima had said, and like all the just stupid bullshit that's going on for what... I mean, like, how did you react to this?
It was really heartbreaking. I really wanted this game to come out after PT. I was really excited.
Did it break your greasy heart?
It did. Not just because... Not just because PT was so good, but also because the idea of Kojima and how he makes these games and how they are absolutely just batshit insane. I thought that'd be perfect for Silent Hill. And then I thought Guillermo del Toro doing the character designs or the monster design, I thought this is going to be perfect. This is a match made in heaven. The stars were aligned. Everything was perfect for this damn game.
But you forgot one little detail, didn't you, partner? You forgot Konami.
No, I thought it. No, as soon as when I found out that it was canceled, I thought, well, it was too good to be true. That would have been like the perfect Silent Hill game.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I'm somebody that I've been of the mindset that for me, Silent Hill as a series ended after 4. Everything that came after The Room, I was just, okay, this... Like, I tried some of that stuff. I played Origins, I played Homecoming, and I didn't like any of them. I was like, no, you got it wrong, you idiots. It's like...
I thought Homecoming was okay.
Yeah, to me, it was just my whole stickler nature of Team Silent didn't make it, and obviously, I mean, I still kind of hold that they were probably the ones that knew it best for obvious reasons. And you look at the way they did stuff in other games, and I think just other developers got it wrong. But despite that, I was still excited for this.
I was absolutely excited.
I mean, and Brandon, I don't know what your experience was with PT or.
I have it downloaded. I haven't played it yet because I just downloaded it before the thing went off PSN, so I could still play it if I had the desire to.
Yeah, you don't have to buy a PS4 off of eBay for $1,400.
Well, now it's linked to my PSN account, so I can just download it whenever I want on a PS4 I want.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, it's like they can pull it from people getting it, but if it's on your account, it's on your account.
Because like even with all us like the Destiny beta and all those shit still on the PS server, we can download them but can't use them because obviously the beta is closed. But
yes,
those still exist.
But yeah,
so PT will always exist in our hearts.
You know, when you start to look into like, well, why this shit happened, and I mean, and this goes back to, I know we had conversations about Kojima wanting to leave Konami, probably for very good reasons, and how this was going to affect Silent Hill, and it's almost sad that this is what we got. That this fucking Kojima's name was being pulled off of Metal Gear Solid 5 in general. You can't help but feel like there's a lot of petty cynicism going on between like the people who run Konami and guys like Kojima. Like, and I know there have been like some individuals from like various websites like Giant Bomb or Kotaku talking about like it's not uncommon for Japanese companies to act this way and to do stuff like this, to where it's like, oh, you want to leave? Fine, then we're not respecting you in any way, shape, or form. And we're not going to have anything to do with you, kind of almost the same way, like, Capcom won't admit it, but it's like they don't give a shit for Inafune or anything he does anymore, and they refuse to work with him since he left.
Did you see the Super Bunny Hop video on Konami yet?
I haven't, but I've heard about it.
Because in the video, there are Super Bunny Hop sources say that the CEO of Konami and Kojima hate each other, like on a personal level. They hate each other.
I would not be surprised.
Not just professionally, like as not as in Kojima uses too much money, but as in I, the CEO of Konami, I hate you, Hideo Kojima, and you hate me.
It all does sound really petty and bullshit, like almost to the point.
And worth noting is that Konami has a lot of other like holdings in other industries, like pachinko parlors, gym and fitness locations, and like, even Japanese bottled water.
Yeah, like if they were to pull out of the AAA video game industry, they'd probably still be fine. They would be a company, and obviously they would.
And I think that's clearly what they're going to do, because they don't give a shit anymore.
No, I think
like the next Castlevania thing you'll see is probably a Castlevania brand pachinko slot machine.
See, and that to me, that's what breaks my heart out of anything other than just Konami not.
They have a Contra machine already.
It's this idea
that Neo Contra.
These are beloved franchises, a lot of which I really love. Like Contra, like the last couple of things we've seen with Contra was that Rebirth game on the Wii and Contra 4 on the DS that was done by WayForward. And that was the other thing. Like Konami was having other studios handle their stuff. Like they weren't even making anything in-house anymore. They were just a publishing name. It was like, Mercury Steam, they did Castlevania. Fox, they were doing MGS. And Contra, WayForward did that game. And it's like they have all these other houses making their stuff for them. It's like they really just do not care. And like I said, the thing that breaks my heart the most about this is that these are beloved franchises. We're not going to see anything from them again, except they're going to get used for licensing by whatever pachinko machine that Konami wants to put on them. Konami won't sell Contra or Metal Gear or Gradius because they can still make money off of them. Just they're not going to do so with the AAA game.
We could see an MGS themed gym in the future.
Like that.
Learn how to do the army crawl.
Like that's what sucks shit to me the most. Not if Konami goes away, fine. I don't care. They're just a company. But the idea
those properties, though.
Yeah. The idea of their properties not being ever touched by anybody else, that's what breaks my heart the most. Like I feel that's super shitty.
And it just seems like this is the logical leap that Konami has been trying to take for years, where we don't care about the gaming industry anymore. We really don't care about foreign markets anymore, honestly, because we can do all we need to in Japan, and we really don't need you American and you European audiences. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you would hope they would sell off some of their franchises. It's like we don't make video games anymore. So if you want to
do you
want to
know
give
how
us
business works?
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately I do.
Yeah,
But that's what breaks my greasy heart. So
because business are like 10-year-olds.
Yep.
Can I use that ball? No, it's mine. You're not using it, so I don't want you to use it.
But yeah, that sucks. And you know, funny
I'll pay
thing.
to use it. No, it's my ball. Fuck you.
Yeah. So fuck off, Konami. Just eat a dick. I think with that, that might make a nice little segue into a viewer question we got from our good friend Adonisis. Remember, folks, if you want to write a question to us, feel free to email us at thetexturepop@gmail.com or tweet at us at thetexturepop on Twitter. Our good friend Adonis, he says, "Hey guys, I got some quick questions for you, nothing too fancy. First of all, do you guys have anyone in the film or television field that you'd like to get involved in game design? I personally would love to see Robert Rodriguez get involved in game development, as I think his unique artistic vision would be a perfect fit for an action/adventure game a la Uncharted or Tomb Raider. Plus, he could do both the scenario and the soundtrack since he's a great musician and he is a storyteller." Garrett, I'm really glad you're here for this, because like, if you could think of somebody like a director or somebody that you'd want to get involved with games, who would it be?
If I wanted to get involved with making games, or
if you wanted, like, if there was a director or somebody,
if you
or
wanted
producer,
this guy to like head a video game project,
yeah,
and that
much
would
like
be
what Del Toro was planning to do,
but so what they're saying is, like, if like, who should you talk to if you want to get involved with games?
No,
or?
like, if you find, who would you like to let's see, go from TV or movies to like making a game out with their experience?
Like, much like how Del Toro wanted to do this project with Silent Hills, and I know, like, Steven Spielberg, he worked with EA for Boom Blocks. Like,
if you want, I can go first while you think of your choice.
You know what? Miyazaki.
Good.
Miyazaki would be a good one. Or I would.
Didn't they do that, Ni no Kuni? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Did they?
Well, Ni no Kuni was a Studio Ghibli joint. Yeah.
Yeah. I get the two confused a lot.
Oh no, David Lynch. I could think David Lynch would do something. David Lynch would do something great.
He could make Kane and Lynch.
God no.
Bong. Shit. What's his name? Kumbong. Hang on a second.
Guy that directed Snowpiercer?
Yes, Bong Joon-ho. I think, because he's done really good movies. I wanted to say Wes Anderson, and then I thought about it, and I went, nah, he just makes hipster stuff. But Spike Jonze. I love Wes Anderson.
We didn't say how it could be an indie project if you want it to be.
Yeah, I love Wes Anderson. He's one of my favorite directors. I don't understand why all of his films are, like, literally every single film he has made is on the Criterion Collection. Don't get that, but okay. I understand why why certain films are on the Criterion Collection, because they are fucking fantastic. Some of the best films ever made. But yeah, and maybe not video games. But Spike Jonze, I mean, if you watched Her, he actually tackles video game development. Like, the guy's best friend, she makes video games, and there's a scene where he's playing multiple video games. That's really funny. But Quentin Tarantino, good.
There are a lot of choices.
Yeah, there are a lot. I want to say Christopher Nolan, maybe, possibly. I don't know. But okay, yeah, so those are. I have a whole bunch.
Hard to choose. Brandon, you had yours.
Simply because I've been watching a lot of his material lately, I think it would be interesting to see Joss Whedon make a video game.
Joss Whedon,
yeah. I've got my own choice, but I would still say, I would agree with that.
Because Whedon has a really good writing style that is very self-aware, while also and able to be very dramatic, but at the same time able to lighten up an otherwise extremely dark scene with a good bit of humor, so that I don't feel too oppressively dark. And I think that would be cool to like to apply that to some sort of pulpy adventure game or any sort of really game, because he's done a lot of different material in very different genres.
I'd be interesting to see like what he would think up, you know? Like
Yeah.
as for me, and I'm not joking either, I seriously would be down for this if fucking Paul Verhoeven got into video games and decided he was gonna make something.
I'm gonna betray myself. Who the fuck is that?
So Paul Verhoeven, he's directed such classics as my number one all-time favorite movie, the original RoboCop, and he was also
now we're in the
responsible.
realm of things that I am aware of.
Yeah, he is also responsible for Starship Troopers. And those two things alone, like, if you want to think of something, like, it can be smart, but it can also be dumb and kind of fun at the same time. Like, I'd be interested
Like a
to
Saints
see...
Row?
Almost, yeah. If Paul Verhoeven made something, it'd be like Saints Row, but maybe making more nods and commentary on shit, but at the same time, it'd be dumb as fuck, and it's like, here's a gunfight.
Hamster once said that Saints Row is a very smart game that makes you want to think it's dumb.
Yeah.
It's like if Michael Bay had a brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put a lot of work into making you think they're stupid when they're actually not.
No.
Yeah, it's like this game is so stupid, and
No,
then you think about it, and you're like, wow, that's actually like really clever.
If you look into a fucking analysis of the original RoboCop, you'll see there's a lot of smart stuff that goes on that was into making that.
That film is extremely intelligent.
Oh god, yes, I love it so much. But yeah, but like you also think of like the stupidity and the cult following of Starship Troopers and why people love that movie. Like I would love if Paul Verhoeven made some kind of like.
I almost like just
That's
out of
right.
morbid curiosity want to see what a Michael Bay video game would look like.
I don't.
Isn't it? Isn't that
I
basically
don't think it
Call
would
of
be
Duty?
good. I think it would be terrible, but I want to see what it would be like.
Brandon.
They made those.
Yeah, it's Call of Duty. That's
Yeah.
that's
It's Call of Duty. They already made
No,
that.
that's
exactly
Bay
what it
light.
is.
I want to see true Michael Bay.
You know what?
Like
Since
as he
you
is
brought
the
it
most
up,
unrestricted.
Call of
fucking
Duty.
okay. Since you brought this up, I saw something recently. I guess Michael Bay is doing a TV drama on TNT called The Last Ship, and I went to the movies and they were doing like promos and stuff for it, and just watching it, like I'm not even gonna get into the story or something. All I'm going to say, like, if you look it up, just look up like promos for The Last Ship, and it's a TV series that Michael Bay is doing. It is the epitome of every movie trailer you've seen for any of his movies, as well as just his fetishizing for American military. It is just so Michael Bay. Like, it is just nothing but his personal wank dream.
Alternatively, I think the people who made Lost would make a really good mystery game if they had an editor.
Yeah, there is a Lost game, but it's shit. So
Yeah.
I
Made
hope
by
that
someone else who clearly didn't care about the source material.
I hope that answers that, though.
See,
But
for a second, I thought he was asking, like, what directors do you want to contact? Like,
No,
what director would you want to take over for Silent Hills or something like that? I was like,
No.
Clearly,
you
his
just wanted-
questions this week are inspired by what's going on with Konami.
Yeah.
And you'll see that especially true with the second question, which Chris is about to read.
As
You know
a
what?
follow-up. Oh, sorry.
Really quick, I want to add 2 directors because these films are action movies, and I think that the directors who made them could totally use the films are fast paced. They're clever enough to become video games, or the directors could make a video game. The movie is Running Scared, which is directed by Wayne Kramer. He wrote and directed it, and this is about Paul Walker. He's a criminal. They get into a scuffle with some dirty cops. His partner says, "Oh my God, I just shot the balls off of this police officer. I need you to hide my gun."
Jesus.
No joke. He puts the gun to the guy's groin and blows the guy's dick
Why are
off.
they always
Anyway.
dirty cops? They're never clean cops.
So he says, "I need you to hide this gun." So the guy goes and hides the gun in his house. The kid's neighbor comes over, finds the gun, and shoots his abusive stepfather with it. Goes on the run, and so now everyone's after this kid, and they're like, "What gun is it?" And he's like, it's not your gun." "Oh shit, I gotta find this kid before I die. I gotta find this kid before they find him." So it's very fast paced. The editing in it is insane. So I think that could be a good video game. And then the other one is a German experimental film called Run Lola Run.
I've heard of that.
And yeah, it's very fast paced editing. This girl has 20 minutes to find, I think it's like $100,000 or 10,000. It's in the thousands, but I'm not sure how many digits. She has to find. She has to find this money because her boyfriend is delivering the money to somebody, and then he leaves it on a train while avoiding police officers, and this homeless guy gets it, and he's like, I have to find this money. So she's going out trying to get this money, and meanwhile he's contemplating robbing a store, and it's very fast-paced, and the entire movie is her basically running to try and get this money. So those could work. Those directors could work. I'm trying to find the director who did a little run.
We should probably move on to the next question, though.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
for the
sorry.
time.
No, that's cool. But as a follow-up, now that
Yeah.
Kojima has been able to cut himself free from Konami, what do you predict his next projects will be? Do you think he'll stay in the realm of game design, or will he finally attempt to fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming a filmmaker? I'm fine with either, but I would hope he stays involved in gaming somehow. The video game world is so much more interesting with him involved.
I imagine he'll consult on a number of video games. I don't know if he'll actually go back into game design, because I imagine after working with Konami, he's pretty worn out and sick of like developing things.
At the same
Yeah.
time, I can also imagine like other studios that would be eager to have him on a project.
Oh no doubt. I just don't know if he'd be willing to take them up on their offer.
Yeah. I mean,
Because he's Kojima, of course someone's going to want to put a Kojima on the game.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny how, like, even Kojima, he was on that first Lords of Shadow game when they rebooted Castlevania. Like, he was on, he had a hand in that. Although, I mean, granted, he's credited, but he could have very well have been like, no, Dracula needs to do this, and then just walk the fuck out. Like, just just comes in like randomly. Like,
So, I mean,
"Nah,
like
the
I
witch needs-"
imagine people will be eager to have him at least consult on their game as like an advisor or someone who does a lot of like major storyline writing and shit.
I mean, if he would want to make movies, I would say let him do it, and then I would want to see what the fuck he ends up making, regardless if it's good or bad. It's like I want to see whatever fucking fever dream he concocted.
Though, in all honesty, I imagine him like retiring for like a year or two before coming back into doing whatever he is going to do next.
Yeah, if he
Like,
can
I
afford
imagine
it.
taking some time off because I heard from what I hear, Konami treated him like garbage.
Yeah, which sucks shit. But
Yeah, because he is fucking Kojima.
I don't know, Garrett. What would you want him to do?
I think I'd be okay with either. If he makes games, I'd want him to have his own independent game company so he can do whatever he wants. And if he goes into movies, I'd absolutely happy to see them.
What do you expect him to do?
If in his lifelong dream to do movies, then I think he's going to try and break away from the game companies, and he's going to try and break away from the game industry and go for movies. But I don't know. I don't know.
There's
I can't
always
say for certain.
Yeah,
I
there's
wonder if like, because I know he's big, he's top shit in the gaming world. Everyone knows that, of course.
Yeah,
But like
and
when
also
it comes
that's
to Hollywood or whoever or whatever organization or whatever you call the Japanese equivalent of Hollywood, I don't know if they care as much.
yeah.
I don't know if they give a
yeah.
shit.
I mean,
And
there's always.
they're both totally different mediums too, so
Yeah.
it'd be hard for him to adjust.
I mean, and granted, I'm sure he could tell a story, although there's always been kind of a running thing of like, if he gets in the movies, he needs a fucking editor. Like somebody to say, like,
And
no,
it's also
cut
a
this
very
out.
common joke. Oh, ha ha! These cutscenes might as well be a movie because they're 10 minutes long. But like, I don't know if he's actually able to write a legit movie
Yeah.
script.
Who knows? But as I said, if he honest to God made a movie, I would want to see what it is, good or
Yeah.
bad, just
Yeah.
because I know it'd be a fucking fever dream. I'm gonna wrap this up by saying he has a quick question that deals with South Park: The Stick of Truth, considering my experiences on it. The only reason I'm not reading it is simply because I know that game is a year old, but I don't want to spoil a specific moment that he mentions. And I'm just going to say Underpants Gnomes and leave it at that. And as far as my thoughts on it, I'm just going to say I thought it was delightfully fucked up in the best way. To be quite honest.
Yeah, that was a great part. That one part
Yeah,
with the
Garrett, if
guy.
you don't-
The
yeah.
guy, right?
yeah,
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Me
I will
neither.
tell you off air.
Well, I know because he told me off air.
Yeah. But But, thanks for the question, as always. And like I said, if you want to ask us something, know how to do it, there's links below. All right, so getting right into it. Garrett, how's your week been?
My week's been really good. Today was a really good day because today marks the day that I finally went to Barnes & Noble and I bought my very own copy of Good Omens, written by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett.
Like a physical Barnes and Noble store? Like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, those exist, Charky. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I know.
Not Borders.
I used to go to Borders a lot when I was a child.
I still have my Borders card, and I'm like, I miss Borders, but yeah, I went to Barnes and Noble. I bought 2 books. I bought Good Omens, and I bought Paradise Lost, which is an old poem written about the devil being cast out of heaven, along with all of the along with like all of his the fallen angels that followed him, and then he bravely traverses a void, and that's how he sneaks into the Garden of Eden. And it's really weird because it's a sympathetic look at him, but it's basically saying like if he didn't do what he did in the Garden of Eden, we wouldn't have the knowledge that we know now.
Interestingly enough, the snake that tempted Adam and Eve never actually has a name.
Yeah, it's never actually. Some people
He's
say
just
it's actually
that
not the
dick
devil.
that tempted Adam and Eve.
It's usually always referred to as the serpent.
Yeah.
Which is funny because in Good Omens, it's the main demon character, Crowley, and he's like, I was just doing my job. I didn't mean to hurt anybody.
Thinking of takes on Satan as a character or Lucifer, what have you, as well as Neil Gaiman, I think he was also responsible for writing Sandman.
Yes.
And there was something I had seen once about how Lucifer is a character in that. And the thing is, he's never portrayed as this kind of all-powerful villain or anything. He's just a dude. And it's like the idea
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say the idea of Lucifer of being this villain that wants everybody's souls is like a common misconception. He's in Sandman, he's just a guy.
He's described less as an evil being and more as like a jail keeper, like a warden at a jail.
He's not Satan. Those are 2 different beings entirely.
But he's like I don't tempt people. I'm just bad people come to hell. I just kind of keep them in line. That's about it.
Yeah, and then he talks about how maybe rebelling against my dad was part of his plan. I didn't know it.
Yeah, and he eventually actually does rebel by just going on a vacation for all eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done, and
I want to choose to believe that he just took a lot of marijuana and he rebelled in that way. Yo, dude, I'm totally a rebel,
but yeah, Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is and then so basically the entire book is about the Adam and Eve being cast out of the Garden of Eden, and the devil's part in that, and it makes it more of a sympathetic, almost heroic character, which I find strange, but it's interesting. So I'm gonna read it and study it. Also bought a new Watch Dogs lanyard. It says everything is under control, like the control key on a keyboard. So I thought that was clever, and I was like, that's cool. Went to PetSmart, looked at some rats. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I finished Good Omens for a second time, and this time I looked through, it was that book so fantastic that even the blank pages I would slowly flip through them just to take it all in. I love those kinds of books, and I almost had to read it again. I'm like, this will be the 3rd time. I need to turn this damn book in.
Graphic novels, it's which is what I'm assuming it is.
Right.
Just a comic. Yeah.
I was like, Good Omens is a book.
Yeah.
But as a hobby, I'm actually as a hobby, just as a hobby, I am currently writing I'm adapting it into a screenplay. And I'm gonna see how I'm gonna see if he. I'm gonna send it to Neil Gaiman over Tumblr and just see if he likes it, and also ask him a few questions, because apparently he answers every ask he gets, or almost every ask. Yeah, I follow him on Tumblr, and every day there's 8 asks that he's answered.
I'd be looking forward to hearing what he says about that.
Yeah, apparently he has a hobby of going into airports and going into the bookstore sections, and if there's a book of his, then he'll autograph the first 3 books and walk away.
Wow. That
Yeah, it's
sounds
like
pretty
just-
cool.
Yeah, it's like just some random person's like, I'm gonna buy this book, opens it, oh my god!
Man, but like when it comes to like when I think of like graphic novels and stuff, it's like the first time I read something like that, I read it, kind of for the story. Not that I want to get through it, but I'm just really eager to see what happens next. And then when I go through it the second time, that's when I'll kind of pause and just like take in like the shit that's going on, maybe, and that's when I find stuff that I maybe missed before. It's always good to read something more than once.
And another thing with Neil Gaiman is my little sister, she almost bought the book Neverwhere, which is also by Neil Gaiman. And I told her, no, don't buy that. I have it. And she went, oh, okay. Now, it's funny because I went there to buy Good Omens. She had no idea that it was by the same author, so she ended up buying Stardust, which is a great book by him. I also have that. So I thought it was a little funny that she bought that. But, yeah, so it was funny that we ended up accidentally walking away with, like 2 books by like the exact same author.
He's pretty fucking good, though.
He's really good. He's one of my favorite authors. Terry Pratchett's also really good. Sadly, I didn't know who Terry Pratchett was until I was reading Good Omens, and about halfway through Good Omens was when last month when he passed away. And
yeah.
so that was crap. It's like as soon as I
If you
find
like
out about
Pratchett,
this
I
guy.
hear his Discworld novels are very good.
Yes, I read the first 2, and they're really good. But it sucks. Like as soon as I found out about this guy, like a week later, it's like, hey, he's dead. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Chris told me, okay, go ahead and download 2 games. Download Black Flag and download The Cartel. I downloaded The Cartel. Black Flag was halfway done, and my brother wanted to play some Gears of War, which, by the way, that game is dated.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that game is dated.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Gears of War, he was playing that, and of course, you can't download the game while you're playing a game. So I got halfway through the download, and then today I tried opening it up. I was like, I'm gonna finish that download, and of course, no, it's no longer free for gold. So I don't have it.
You should still have it on your account though. If you started the download, it's on your account.
Oh, is it?
Go into your
download.
go into your
download list you go to, and just
I went to active downloads and it was gone.
If you go into download history, you should be able to download it again though.
All right, I'll give that a try while I'm on the podcast.
Yeah.
But other than all of that, I'm trying to think what else. We had to do a story-based game, and that was a pain because I ended up making like a visual novel kind of game.
It's something that that's kind of like the easiest thing to make, I would guess.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Our teachers make a story-based game, so I just wrote out a story. My friend said, "Hey, what about a guy visiting his dad?" And then and I said, "Okay," and then I just kind of built on that. So I made
Didn't we talk about this before?
Yeah.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I think
anyway, the game is done.
Nice.
I had to rush the last 2 pages, so I don't feel very good about the game.
Aw.
I think it sucks. It's like one of the most sappy things I've ever read.
I'm sure it's appreciative though. And also, when it comes to like the idea of a visual novel, kind of wish Sam were here for this, but I remember reading a review for Sai no Uta, and the guy writing the review had basically said, like, if there is a single choice, it is a game.
Yeah.
So if you wrote a visual novel, if you left 1 or 2 choices in there, it's still a game. So don't feel bad on that front.
You know, the average person makes about 8 choices per day.
Never thought of that. I'm making a choice not to think about that.
Yeah. What else? Oh, by the way, I'm downloading Black Flag. It was there. Thank you guys.
Yep, you're welcome.
That bugged me all day. I was like, damn it. But
yeah, it's a good game, man.
It's I think one of the best in the series. That's what I've heard. Oh,
the best / worst, depending on your viewpoint.
Yeah,
but
we're not getting into this again. I know we mentioned that last week. So
other than all of that, I think that's about it. I'm done.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
So moving right along, Brandon, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. I've been playing a couple things lately. I played a game called Unrest, which is an RPG set in ancient India.
What? I've not heard of this.
It was made by Pyrodactyl Games. It's an interesting game. It's only about 3 or 4 hours, so it's not very long, and there's no combat at all, just like dialogue, which was right up my alley. because that's why I like RPGs as part.
Wait a minute. Didn't Aaron Signal do a video on this game?
Yes.
Okay, then I do know about this.
Because Rutskarn made it.
Oh, holy shit! Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember this now.
Yeah, it's an interesting game, but I do have some issues that I have with it. Like, even though it's short, you play as a number of different protagonists over the game, and some of them have different goals. So you're almost eventually going to metagame something because you had this one choice with one character and the other character who's from a different side of this story would probably have a different choice, but you kind of want that other character you had first to have a better outcome, so you give them a choice that they may not ordinarily take, or like you feel like if you role playing them they probably wouldn't take. You have all these different characters, all these different perspectives, and you're kind of you're probably not going to want to, but you do end up metagaming it anyway. And
I'm not like examining like what are some of the other meanings behind this and the like.
Yeah. So it's just kind of weird, but it's not unpleasant, and I'm looking forward to seeing what other kind of games the Pyrodactyl will make in the future. So I don't have anything more to say about it besides that since you are Indian, Chris, you may want to check it out.
Well, I'm not in the game. I was kind of looking into some of the stuff because I had to kind of give myself a refresher. I was like, I thought I've heard of this, but then I was like, it's like, wait a minute, it was set in India? Like, and I don't know about it? You know, the one Indian guy that's here? But then it was like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, now I remember. This deals with some heavy shit. The themes in this are laid on super thick of like, yeah, history was shit back then.
Yeah.
Just like, hey,
it is a little thick
sucked.
on the clear allegories to racism.
Mm-hmm. Like, isn't there like fucking snake people or something in that game?
Naga,
like,
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because, it's India.
Well, yeah, but like, as far as like mythology and stuff goes, it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds pretty... I'll be looking forward to hearing when you finish that, so...
I did.
Oh, you did finish it.
It's only like... It's only like 3 or 4 hours long.
Yeah, I forgot about that. No, I was just gonna ask, like, maybe, did you like it, or would you, like...
I liked it. I probably won't play it again because it didn't leave enough of an impression on me, honestly.
Yeah, it seemed like something that, you kind of check this out.
You kind of just play it once and then it's kind of like, you just kind of forget about it afterwards. At least that was the case for me. And I feel kind of bad saying that because some people that I genuinely know and like worked on that game.
Yeah, hopefully they get to do some more stuff.
And the other game I played this week was, and I did finish this, the Banner Saga.
Oh.
And I find that to be a very interesting game.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have to wonder, like, what difficulty did you play this on?
I think I played it on the easiest one.
Yeah,
I did. Yes, it's been a while since I beat this game earlier in the week. But yeah, I did play it on easy, and I have no guilt towards that whatsoever.
No, because that is a game that it goes out of its way to show you this is a fucking difficult situation and you're gonna fucking feel it.
And I like what they've done with this combat system to make it so different from a lot of the other RPGs out there. For example, one of the biggest things they do in this game is that your health and your attack power are the exact same stat. There are 2 stats. Main stats. There is strength and armor. When you deliver an attack against an enemy, your damage is equal to your strength minus their armor, and that will do damage to their strength. So if you attack them, you've basically weakened their ability. You've lowered their ability to attack you in the next turn. Right. Likewise, if they attack you, you also have a lower attack power, which makes it harder for you to fight back. So it sets up this very interesting dynamic, which is something I don't really see very often in RPGs.
Yeah, and I mean, Banner Saga in particular it's one of those things, like, I remember hearing about it, and it's one of those things to where the way it was designed also kind of helped give you the feel of, as a player, that this is probably one of the most difficult plights that these group of people are going through, and it is only going to get worse.
And it does definitely encourage a very defensive play style.
Yeah.
Because if you get hurt, then that makes it much harder for you to fight back.
Like, and I think I know, like, some people would sometimes make like references, well, not references, but like comparisons to something like Fire Emblem, because I think this is also a game that if your character dies, they are permanently dead.
Correct.
Yeah, it's
Permadeath is the thing in this game. No. Let me take that back. If your character dies in the middle of a fight, they will get injured, which will reduce the strength that they start out with in an X fight for a number of in-game days until they recover. But your characters can get killed off through things that happen in the dialogue portions of the game.
Right.
So there is still that element of your choices are affecting the lives of these people that have sworn themselves to you. And the other thing that they do, at least in the combat system, is that player and enemy turns are interleaved. A player character will take a turn, and then an enemy character will take a turn, and a player character, and so on and so forth. And when you combine that with the previous system of health in your attack power, it becomes this interesting dynamic where you don't want to outright kill your enemies. You just want to weaken them to the point of near death. Because if they are at like 1 or 2 HP, they aren't doing any damage to you whatsoever.
Right.
And they're also soaking up turns that other enemies might otherwise take up. So you can use them to like bolster the enemy's turns so that they have a lower chance of doing any actual damage. And then once you're ready, you can finish the job.
It's like a different way of kind of approaching how you approach combat and the like.
Yeah. Because most RPGs, you just want to blow out the enemy. Just end it there. But this one, you want to leave them weakened so that their turns are basically useless to the enemy.
So, like, what did you think of like the story and the characters? Because I know, like, every time I see the Banner Saga, by the way, I think it looks beautiful.
It does, yes.
Yeah, because it goes with a very, very well done, like, hand-drawn art style.
It's a very good art style.
Oh, God, yeah. It's, but I have to wonder, like...
It looks almost completely hand-drawn.
Oh, God, yeah, which is what I fucking respect about it. But, like, I have to wonder what your thoughts are with, like, some of the characters in the story. Like, was there anything out of this that you think is going to stick with you? Like...
Yes, I definitely... There are characters, like, the main character is basically this hunter dude who has a daughter, and he doesn't want his daughter to die, so you have this invading enemy force, and you aren't strong enough to fight them all off, so you do what's natural, you run the fuck away. And you take all your village, you like have a caravan that you travel to other cities with, and that's much like the Oregon Trail in that part of the game.
Yeah.
And what you do in the middle of that Oregon Trail dynamic doesn't impact your party. So it's very interesting. I did actually end up liking a lot of the characters I joined with. Some of them I will forever hate as a bunch of raving dicks. But others I definitely developed what seemed like a very close bond with them over the course of the game. And it's short. Well, not short. It's about 15-20 hours, so it's a decent length game.
Yeah, I think because a lot of people I know that play this, they play on, like, the default setting, which this game will put you through the fucking ringer just for that, though.
It's a very tactical game. You need to be willing to think for a little.
And again,
which I'm fine with. And honestly, if I knew beforehand that I was going to like the combat as much as I did, I probably wouldn't have put it on easy mode.
Yeah.
Because I went in thinking it was going to be typical boring ass RPG combat. So I just decided, fuck it, go on easy. I don't care. Just do the story. But then I actually started liking the combat, and I felt kind of bad. I don't think you can change difficulty. At least if you did, I didn't look.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there is, because obviously, like, this is one of those games. It does kind of have a reputation of being extremely difficult. But again, it kind of goes back to the idea of they wanted the design of the game and the combat and the scenarios to reflect this very grim and sometimes depressing atmosphere and story that they were trying to tell. That it's not just something that you see in a cutscene, but you're feeling this.
Everything is definitely building on everything else in this game.
Absolutely.
And I really like it. I definitely recommend someone check it out if they haven't already.
think it's like
And-
$15
and-
on Steam.
I don't know what its cost now is. I've had it in my library for a while.
Yeah, it's a
I
good
just
game though.
only got around to playing it. And one thing I liked about it too is that it's very low fantasy for a game set with Nordic lore.
Yeah. Like there's no fucking dragons or mythical beast bullshit.
There are exactly 2 mages in the entire game. Exactly 2, and only one of them ends up joining your party. So, like, it's extremely low fantasy, which I actually appreciate because I don't see that very often.
Yeah.
Usually, if you go fantasy, you usually go for the high fantasy route.
It's good. It's a good fucking experience though. Like, and I'm sure you could probably go. You might try going into it again, maybe on like a higher setting.
I might if circumstances align.
It's like more Persona. Well, fuck that.
And
anything else?
The only other thing I did this week is that since I have been doing a lot of Joss Whedon stuff lately, I have been playing. I watched the Serenity movie, which is the movie that was the closing of the Firefly saga.
So how was that?
I liked it. It was a really good movie, and of course it is. It's a Joss Whedon movie with Nathan Fillion in it.
So, as like I know, so you watched like the 2 seasons of Firefly that existed.
The one season.
Oh, okay, the 1 season of Firefly that existed. I have to wonder do you think prior knowledge of that show was necessary for this, or maybe somebody could go into Serenity?
The movie explains enough of the concepts that you don't need the TV show, but it's clearly made with fans of the show in mind.
Yeah, maybe like some callbacks and stuff to it.
But it was a really good movie, and again, Joss Whedon's writing just takes the cake.
Yeah, the idea of like if he had like his own kind of sci-fi epic that's original and
he had one, then Fox pulled the plug.
Yeah, well, yeah. But this time it's like he just made a full-blown movie. Said fuck it.
And it definitely like wraps up the whole Firefly line nicely enough, while leaving room for them to do something else if they want to.
Garrett, did you ever see Serenity?
No, I actually have not. I've seen that.
Yeah,
it's worth a watch. Definitely.
Yeah, I think I would. I kind of seem like because I don't have the patience to sit through a series, even if it was a single season, I'd probably be one to just straight up watch the movie first. So I remember trailers for it looking good.
I would definitely watch the series first if you had the choice before.
Yeah, if I had the opportunity. Maybe I will. Who knows? But good recommendation for Serenity.
It's been my week, so you should go on with what you were going to say.
Okay, so I don't mean to rush you. Just
no, it's fine. I don't have anything else to say this week.
So my big thing. Well, I haven't really played any new games. I've been discovering some DLC content for some Nintendo Wii U games. I was gonna touch on like the stuff from Hyrule Warriors as well as like Super Smash Brothers, like they added Mewtwo, but I kind of don't feel like I don't have much to say about them other than these things exist. Because like Mewtwo, the funny thing about Mewtwo was that Nintendo was touting him as if you buy the 3DS and the Wii U version of Smash Brothers, you get Mewtwo free. And I know some friends like kind of had this panic of, dude, I'm never going to be able to play as Mewtwo unless I get both versions of the game. And I'm like, I don't really know about that. It's like, no, Club Nintendo is serious shit. Then Club Nintendo ended up going by the wayside, as we saw earlier this year. And now Mewtwo, you can just buy him for $5. I believe, no, I think if you pay $5, you get Mewtwo for both versions of the Wii U and the 3DS. So, but other than the fact that he's there, and this has been the one and only DLC character that Nintendo's done for Wii U, because that's not really something they wanted to rely on, Sakurai especially. And I've not played Melee in some time, so I can't really speak on like how does Mewtwo compare now as opposed to what he did then. But not really much to say on that other than, yeah, you can totally buy him. And I'm glad I didn't have to shell out an extra $40 for a 3DS game when I don't own a 3DS yet. I know people that did buy both versions of the game, though, like they can still get the soundtrack, so that's fine, whatever. And there was also new DLC, the final pack for Hyrule Warriors. They added a boss rush mode, which is kind of cool. And the standout thing of it is there was a special challenge mode where you could straight up play as Giant Ganon, who was the game's final boss. and it feels super broken in the best way possible of, this is supposed to be a challenge, but no one can stop me. Why? Because I'm a giant pig monster firing lightning out of my tusks. Who's gonna stop me? Going up against Dynasty Warrior enemies. It's weird that they even gave people that option of like, this does not work from a player standpoint. But man, it's pretty fun just trouncing around on hundreds of dudes, and none of them are capable of making a dent in you. It is ridiculous. But again, there's not really much I could say on that other than it's fucking nuts, and I'm glad it exists. However, the big one, I got plenty to say on this, was Mario Kart 8 released its final DLC. Well, I guess I shouldn't say final, but the other half of the DLC 2-pack, if you bought that, season pass thing, whatever. They add 3 new characters, which are the villager from Animal Crossing, which you can play as either a boy or a girl. That's cool. Isabelle, who people who played Animal Crossing 3DS recognize her as like your assistant, because the deal with that game was like you were the mayor, so you can race as her. That's kind of cool. And the one that I thought was a standout was Dry Bowser, which is, here's the skeleton version of Bowser that I remember busting my ass to unlock in the original Wii version, which was cheap as shit. But it's like, now you just fucking buy him, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess I can still play as him, whatever. Even though there's plenty of characters, I'm not gonna make that complaint. There are also some new vehicles, which look fucking rad. You get a Animal Crossing themed town scooter, which is like this little Italian scooter deal. Like, if you remember, like, Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2 used to ride on that little dinky scooter they drive around. Yeah, it's basically that. Also, Dry Bowser has his own motorcycle, which looks, like I said, looks really sick, because it is basically like a skeletal dragon-looking thing that is all chrome. It's got 3 wheels. It's a fucking trike with suicide bars on it. It looks dope. The other thing that looked really rad is they came up with a vehicle called the P-Wing, which is inspired by the P-Wing that was in Super Mario Bros. 3. And it looks pretty sleek and sporty, like almost like a fucking 90s Corvette. It's pretty dope looking. So I like that. You got 8 new motherfucking tracks, which is a lot. And once again, it kind of pisses me off a little bit that they pull yet another track from F-Zero to put in this thing without making a proper fucking F-Zero game. But whatever. Although, and the biggest part about that DLC is, so, for the first time ever, anybody who's played Mario Kart is familiar with the concept of 50cc, 100cc, and 150cc, which determines the speed that you're driving at, as well as the game's difficulty. Because the higher you go, the harder it gets, right?
Yeah.
Well, they've decided to add a 4th mode, 200cc, which is fucking nuts. It's like, I don't even know what to compare this to, because obviously it makes the game harder for various reasons. The AI, has always been kind of out to get you, and AI has always been fucking cheap in Mario Kart games. However, the thing with 200cc, you're going noticeably faster. You're getting through tracks very quickly. Although, that is provided you're not hitting every fucking wall. Because if you thought you were hot shit because you can get through every track almost flawlessly in 150cc, guess what? None of that knowledge helps you. 200cc laughs at you and says, you run into a wall, fucker. Because that was basically my experience. I tried playing it the same way I do all the time. And I play a lot of Mario Kart. I know my way around these tracks already. I felt like an idiot playing on 200cc because I was just running into every wall, and it was clear to me, I was like, yep, drifting's not going to work here.
Yep, that is definitely a wall I just hit.
Yeah, this is perfect. For the first time, even when you select that, like if you're in the menu and it gives you like a text crawl, they pretty much tell you braking is required. And they are not joking. The best way to negotiate those turns at that point, you basically have to use the brake, which is probably the first time for me in a long while, because when I play Mario Kart, I have no reason to let go of the fucking gas. It is whether or not I'm drifting or going straight, and that's it. But here in 200cc, because you're going so damn fast, it almost feels like the tracks aren't even made for it either. Because there are ramps, and because you're going that damn fast, you're just launching even farther up in the air. It is nuts. Like, there was a really good article I was reading about how some people were wondering whether or not 200cc is a good idea or not. If it's just showing more flaws with the game, or if it wasn't even designed for it with going this fast in mind. And at the same time, I do like the idea of maybe they realized it was going to be super broken if they released this, but they said, fuck it, we're putting it out there in the wild. And now you have assholes that think 150cc is that slow. It's kind of hard to quantify and compare just by explaining it. But yeah, I messed around with it a few times, kind of didn't want to, but then when I kind of let myself experiment with it, I really did just have to relearn everything again. Because again, I've played a good amount of Mario Kart. I feel like I know what I'm doing. This made me feel like an idiot. Because it's like, well, it's back to the drawing board of how to drive these tracks again. It is nuts. You know, the way you're just launched off of shit. It's hot damn. And probably after this podcast, I'm going to attempt to play online. And I'm fearful for what kind of fucking madness it is for people driving at 200cc online. Throwing shells and bullshit
kids
at
these days in your Marios.
just throwing shells and bullshit at each other. Especially when you play online, people can adjust the rules. Yeah, they can adjust the rules for like what items drop when. And so it's fucking nuts. I'm definitely gonna spend more time with it. It's just like, I wonder who asked for this. Like, I'm curious, like, and if people weren't
I didn't ask for this.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this.
If people weren't asking for it, like, I wonder who at Nintendo was like, let's make this game go even fucking faster. And it's like, you're insane. Let's do it. Like, how this came to be. Like, it's nuts. It's definitely going to be like one of those things of like, there's already people that feel like they can't go back to 150cc now because of how fucking fast 200 goes. That really is about the majority of my week. Was just, kind of playing around with, Nintendo DLC and the like. I think they're kind of doing it okay. Despite some grievances I have in Nintendo, this is absolutely fine. And I think that is going to be a good time to call it a week. So
I'm going to post something. Short. I'm going to post something in the Skype because you mentioned. Hang on. Skype's messing up. You mentioned the 200cc, and that just reminded me of something on Tumblr that I reblogged. I need to grab it.
I gotta see this.
I need to grab it. Well, whenever Skype decides to work, then I'll be able to.
Well, I'll be sure to see it though. But I think for now that'll probably be a good spot to call it. Thanks to you folks for listening in, and of course thanks to my crew for joining me. And once again, hope our buddy Sam gets well soon. And remember, and like I said, and I'll say it again, when I ask you something, feel free to email us at thetexturepop@gmail.com, as well as our Twitter.
Before we wrap up,
yes,
I just want to point out
forget the plugs.
that my Banner Saga article will be coming out tomorrow at the time of this recording, so that means when it airs, it'll already be out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to take a look at what I think about that game, I wrote the article basically on that game's premise of health as damage and how it changed the game.
Yes.
Because that is a very unique premise. I mean, it's not the first time it's ever happened, but it's definitely one of the bigger examples I've seen.
I just posted it into the Mumble chat.
I didn't know Mumble had a chat.
There you go.
Yeah, already it's like I know where this is going. That basically is it, though. That's
Ooh,
yep.
Shit.
Yep.
For those who can't see, it's we'll probably post it in like
those who can't see. In other words, our entire audience.
Yeah. If for the entire audience, a dude like it's a GIF set of a dude in like one of those like tiny little powered cars, like you get
it's
kids
pink.
at Target.
Like a Barbie like Power Wheels car.
Yeah. Guy's sitting at and he's sliding down this hill, spinning, and then he fucking hits a
rain slick hill,
and he proceeds to eat shit.
Yeah, he hits a curb and explodes.
Oh, that's great.
Then the second one's just a PNG. It's really funny. It says when you hit the last lap in Mario Kart, the music speeds up, and it's like a woman in a car over her face. Really funny.
Wow. Yep. Of course, we've got the links to, of course, our, Brandon and Sam's site, as well as Garrett's own Twitch channel. You want to watch him play stuff, you totally can.
Yeah, which I totally fixed up and stuff. Now I just need to get off my ass and actually stream.
Woo! Awesome.
Hey,
looking into
streaming.
That. But that'll be a week for us. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
But will we?